Hi guys, Monica from the Auburn Hill Homestead. Another Wednesday coming at ya. And I know last week we went ahead and did a keto cake version, which is definitely something that we haven't seen on my channel before, but I had so much fun with my friend Carla making that cake for her birthday, since she is keto. But anyway, today we're gonna go back to einkorn. I have a savory einkorn bread recipe on this channel that seems to have been doing kind of well. You guys seem to be interested in it. So I'm going to show you how to make Einkorn Hamburger Buns. They're super simple. You just need a little bit of time, but you can literally walk away and leave it in between working it. I've made it multiple times when I'm like, oh, we're going to have hamburgers tonight and I need something. So instead of running out to the store, which for us is a little ways away to get quality hamburger buns, I went ahead and just made them. Like I said, you should have the ingredients on hand. I've also been able to make them dairy-free for my daughter, so I'll give little side notes on how to do that. But the traditional version is fantastic. They work great. And like I said, they're super easy. So let's go ahead and get started on making some Einkorn hamburger buns. So in your electric mixer, you're going to go ahead and start off with 2 cups of einkorn flour. You can go ahead and use freshly ground. That's what I'm doing. Or again, just go ahead and buy all-purpose einkorn flour, and that would work fantastic too. To the einkorn flour, go ahead and add a teaspoon, 1 teaspoon of salt. And 1 packet of Active Dry Yeast, or 2 1/4 teaspoons. 1, 2, and 1/4. Go ahead and put your whisk attachment on and just give it a quick mix on low. Next, go ahead and put 5 tablespoons of butter into milk, 1 cup of milk, sorry. I'm using organic whole milk and organic salted butter. Again, use what you have and it'll be great however you want it. But 1 cup of milk and 5 tablespoons of butter. This is where you can make the substitution, obviously, if you have somebody dairy-free. In the past, I've done 1 cup of almond milk and then 5 tablespoons of vegan butter, or even like vegan shortening. It works great. So anyway, we're gonna go ahead and put this in the microwave. Go ahead and cover it so it doesn't splatter, and just get it warmed up and melted to about 100, 110 degrees, like you would with water when making a yeast bread. So I went ahead and have it all melted, the butter with the milk, and I'm gonna go ahead and test it here temperature-wise. And it's a little hot, so we're gonna go ahead and let it cool down to about, like I said, 110-ish. And you can put it in the refrigerator or freezer if you need to let it cool down a little bit, or just on the counter. And then we'll go ahead and put it into our flour, yeast, and salt mixture. Make sure it's the temperature's down a little bit, because otherwise you will kill the yeast. Okay, so now it is down to about 110 degrees-ish. Doesn't have to be exact. We're gonna go ahead and add our cup of milk and 5 tablespoons of melted butter into our 2 cups of flour, teaspoon of salt, 2 1/4 teaspoons of yeast, and start mixing with the whisk attachment. Just wanna get it pretty mixed together there so it's all incorporated. Now that it's all incorporated, we're gonna go ahead and add in 2 eggs, 1 at a time. All right, we'll go ahead and add in the second egg. Okay, once that's all added in, you're gonna go ahead and switch out the whisk. Get every little last bit off. It's sticking pretty well. There we go. And put on your dough hook. Now we're gonna go ahead and add in the remaining 3 cups of flour. This recipe is a total of 5 cups of einkorn flour, so 2 went in the very first part of this, and now we're gonna slowly add in 3 cups while the dough hook does its job. Don't turn it on too fast so that it goes all over the bowl, outside the bowl. I didn't lose too much that time, but I feel like I make that mistake a lot. All right, last cup. Okay, it is fully incorporated, as you can see, but we are going to go ahead and let this knead in the mixer for a few minutes, 5-ish minutes, and that is your whole process of kneading for this recipe. I went ahead and let it go for about 5 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and take my bowl that I'm going to let it rise in and just do a quick oil so it doesn't stick, and then just go ahead, and it is thick dough, by the way, in case you can't tell by looking at it, once it's been kneaded and come together really well. Nice thick dough. We're just gonna plop it in there. I'm gonna get out all the little bits that I can. Waste not, want not, right? Just gonna go ahead and cover it with a tea towel. I'm special, I'm extra. I dyed mine pink, not on purpose. And then you're gonna find a warm spot to leave it rise for an hour and a half. I'm gonna just go ahead and leave mine on top of the stove. And it's pretty warm here today, shouldn't be any issues. If you live in a much colder climate, you know, see if you can find somewhere a little warmer to let it rise so it rises a little quicker. We're gonna let go till it's about doubled in size, and like I said, about an hour and a half, give or take on the temperature. So this has been sitting, keeping warm and rising, and I know I said an hour and a half, but it's obviously definitely warmer now. It's a pretty nice day out there, so this has only been an hour and 10 minutes, and you can see, well, I mean, that is definitely doubled in size. So while it was rising, I went out and walked the dog and did some laundry. So see, you don't just leave it and forget it. I'm gonna go ahead and divide this up into about 8 separate hamburger buns, depending how big you want them. I mean, it doesn't have to be exact. You can make some bigger, some smaller, whatever. I will say that if you're doing the non-dairy version, you're going to want to make them bigger. They don't, at least the ones I've made with the almond milk and the vegan butter, didn't rise quite as well as with traditional milk and butter. So all you need to do though, you get a little less amount of hamburger buns, but it'll work. You just make them a little bigger. And when you're doing these, you wanna roll them into balls, but then also kind of like shape them into the hamburger bun that you want for the final rise. Because if you put them in just a regular ball or you flatten them, definitely don't flatten them. But if you put them in a regular ball, they're gonna rise in that ball form. So you're gonna kind of want to shape them into a hamburger bun form. Go ahead and use my stoneware. Just use stoneware for it and start rolling out buns. And I like to take it and do a fold over, stretch it out and just do a fold over so that the seam is on the bottom and you get a nice flat top. See, and if one's looking a little too big, rip a piece off and add it to your batch so you can keep going. So stretch it out a little and then roll it seam side under. That one's gonna be a little smaller, but again, that's okay. Typically my hamburgers come out in different sizes too. And I wound up with 7 and I want 8, so I did make these a little too big. So let me go ahead and just take a couple chunks off. You can play with it if you want to do it. I tried to make them into hamburger bun shape as best as I could, but they are homemade. I mean, that's the beauty of it, right? They're not going to be perfect. I have slightly different sizes, but got them as best as I could. And you know, some people like a little more bread with their burger and others like less. So people can pick and choose. It doesn't have to be exact like store-bought. We're gonna go ahead and let these sit and rise another round. So like I said, did the initial mixing, then you leave it to rise, you go do your business, whatever you need done. Do this, which took me what, 5 minutes? Let them rise again for typically I'd say an hour and a half. However, it's a lot warmer out, so I'll probably be back to check on them in about an hour. And then we'll bake them in the oven. You can put a little butter on them if you want, or sesame seeds, or like everything bagel seasoning, whatever little sprucing up you want to do. We seem to like them just like this. I'm gonna keep them just the way they are and let them bake like that, and they will turn out beautiful. So anyway, yeah, we'll be back in an hour and check them out. So I did just forget one thing. You want to go ahead and take the same tea towel that you used to cover it when it was in the bowl, and go ahead and cover them on the counter again. Keep the dust off them and stuff. It's a nice clean tea towel. Just FYI.
Time for a cute duckling break.
Been about an hour. And I know before I said an hour and a half. However, as you can tell, they've risen beautifully, and it is really warm here today compared to what it's been. So I'm gonna go with an hour. When the temperature gets hot out, you should be good to go. So I'm gonna go ahead and put these in the oven for about 15 to 20 minutes at 350 degrees. Oven's ready. And when they come out, you need to let them cool 30 to 60 minutes before you go cutting into them, because if you cut into them before then, they're just gonna kind of fall apart and crumble apart. So let them cool off. You can, once they're slightly cool, you can move them off the baking sheet, but don't cut them, slice them in half until they've completely cooled off. So we'll go ahead and show you when they're all done and how beautiful they really are. Looking pretty good. We're gonna let them sit there and cool down for a little bit, then take a spatula and take them off and let them cool down for a full 30 to 60 minutes. almost lost it. So as you can see, super easy, wholesome, fresh hamburger bun. Didn't take long at all. Hardly any work, comparatively speaking, to other breads. And it goes great. With any burger. We have Impossible burgers eaten in this family, Chipotle black bean burgers, your regular beef burgers, everything. And they go great with all of it. The other bonus of this is if you're not going to eat the whole batch at once, they're really easy to freeze. Wrap them in a paper towel, put them in a Ziploc bag or whatever storage container you have, and pop them in the freezer. They'll last for months in the freezer if you protect them. And then when you're ready to use them, need some, just pull them out, let them defrost at room temperature for a little while, and you're good to go. So you could actually make batches way ahead of time if you have the room in the freezer, and then freeze them and just pull them out as you need them. It's a really versatile recipe, and we enjoy it thoroughly in this household. So if you like what you've seen and enjoyed the recipe, please don't forget to hit the like button and also hit that subscribe button for me. And I hope you all have a great rest of your week. Bye.